good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good wherever you guys are. We're just going to talk a little bit today. I'm going to run some riffs in the background too. This is going to be the first video back to the channel, and there's going to be very few videos going forward until at least January. So there may be a few to touch on little questions people have, whether it is what the hell happened to you, Mango, or, you know, what I plan to do in the future. Um, let's just see if my Rift team works, and then we'll talk about it a little bit, because let's face it, y'all want to know, and I want to tell y'all, because not everybody knows what happened. And not everybody has followed my Twitter and saw my breakdown. So let's just start this up here. To note, I have Rift Controller 11. This is my stats. I'll actually go through the gear as we do this too. Now that I think about it, make sure they're all set. And if you weren't fully aware, around December 3rd, I had my first ever psychotic breakdown or manic episode. I'm not sure what to call it yet. I do know what the diagnosis is. I'm not sure if I want to tell people yet. Maybe it's more fun to let people guess what the diagnosis is. But it was pretty bad. I lost control of everything, basically. I was never in any trigger warnings ahead for this video, by the way. This is not the usual family-friendly video. I never had thoughts of suicide or anything like that, but I did call the suicide prevention hotline as a last resort, and I also did call 911. There were no intoxications or lack of medications involved. I just flipped. It's the culmination of working this long, so hard at something and watching it fail miserably and spectacularly in front of you, and failing to get sponsors that you actually care about, like Oodie and AG1 are two sponsors I tried to get that I could not get. I'm not sure why, but I am very brand safe for them, and outside of my physical appearance, there is no real reason why they would say no, because my channel is tailored to the people who would love that. By the way, if you know what an Oodie is, let me know in the comments down there below. And don't buy one yet until they sponsor me if you do get them. They're like my favorite thing in the world, and it actually saved me while I was in the spoiler alert, while I was in the psych ward. So I love it to death, but I'm very mad at it because I sent them an email ahead of time to try to get a sponsorship from them, and I didn't even get a response. So a little bit unfortunate there. Hopefully this team works, by the way. Yeah, so what happened? Around December 3rd, I lost it. I don't know what to say, but about a year ago, I was the happiest I've ever been in my life. Nothing happened. I didn't meet anybody. I didn't do anything special. Somewhere in 2023, I was just like, you know what? I can live life better. And then I tried. I tried to start a membership for YouTube because I cannot mentally handle Twitch anymore. It is too exhausting. That's mainly why this breakdown happened. We don't have any support systems as streamers. I have coworkers essentially, but I've never had a coworker in my life. I don't have HR. I don't know how to handle things like Black Lives Matter. I don't know how to handle things like sexuality in a safe work setting and done correctly to not offend people. I don't know how to handle things like scrolling through Twitter and seeing a coworker's ass and wanting to support it. You know, like, that's just not something I'm equipped to do. So anytime I was put in this situation like that, I basically crumbled, like all of my Guild Wars you've ever seen. Also, to note, I have extreme OCD tendencies. I don't know the exact diagnosis on that, but I know I have something of the sort. That's not what this was about, but I mention that because if you've ever seen me do the same thing wrong in Epic 7, it is because that's how I do things and how my mind operates. If I specifically forget something or don't understand it the first time, I'm probably going to make the same mistake over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because that's just how I do things. It also is how I do things right. So if I do things right, and it works perfectly, I'm going to remember that. For example, or Deek Boys, Bazaar, I just saw the name of this, NS Collabo RS2 Desk ZL, question mark. If I do things right, I do them really right. I'm really good at speedrunning in a sense because repetition is perfection for me. I'm very, 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 very good at it. So you're probably still confused. We were talking about December 3rd. And that is when I failed everything. So I went through a thought process that involved how do I get help as a chatter or somebody from streaming that streams? Like, how do I get help? It's just, there is just literally no help whatsoever. I reached out for help from various streamers that I considered myself mutuals in terms of size, maybe, and maybe not size anymore, but previously. They all told me to go die, unironically, and meme the shit out of me. And before I could post anything on a subreddit or something like that, their chat had already memed me to the universe and back, and anything I posted was then basically related to me killing myself, because that's just what it's like right now on Twitch. Do note, I watch Chaturbate right now. Chaturbate is where I watch my Twitch content. There are safe for work streamers on Chaturbate that just sit around and talk like Twitch used to be without ads whatsoever. There's only one problem though. Yes, there's porn on the site. That's easy. Just it's still less or more safe for work than whatever Twitch does right now. That's another topic, but that went well, right? I think that went okay. The drop sucked, but whatever. But the funny part is with Chaturbate, you can't pause it. You hit the pause button, and it just unpauses it. That's their version of ads. It's hilarious. And you guys might be laughing at me now, like he's addicted to porn or something like that. I can showcase a ton of Chaturbate streams that are non-sexual and less sexual than the average Mango stream, which is wild to consider. And that's the type of content I watch. Generally, streamers who are non-nude, and generally streamers who only have music on and talk maybe a couple times an hour. They don't say thank you for the sub 24/7. There's not sounds in the background for notifications. It's just a chill experience of what I enjoy watching. So another sidetrack there. I can make videos about all these topics, and I will be making videos on all these topics. I'm not sure if it's going to be here or another place. That's another topic. But let's talk about the psych ward I was in. So I called suicide hotline prevention. I did not call it necessarily for myself. I called it for a friend, a coworker, not one anybody knows, but somebody I've worked with in the past. I was worried about them, and I couldn't reach out to them because I was having my own personal problems. There was no avenue at all for me as a streamer to check to see if they were safe or to talk about it with a professional to see if I am safe. I was in a psychosis state at this point, and this was my last ditch effort. I had already exhausted every other way. And do know, I did this for the last year ahead of time on my private membership section that nobody paid for. Do note, I am broke as fuck right now. My mom has cost me $100,000 in drinking debt, and she's in rehab, and there's nothing I can do about it but pay those bills and keep my mom alive. So that's what I'm doing, but YouTube is not paying those bills anymore, and that's okay, but you know, it kind of hurts. So when you get to that point where you're in debt from a family member that is endlessly drinking and you can't stop it, and you've sent them to rehab 3 times and there's no other option, you get kind of down on yourself. So I decided to take a note from Sam Riegal in Critical Role Land and do a skit. So I was going to do my first skit ever. I never was in drama club or anything like that. So my first skit ever was going to be my membership channel on on YouTube, and it still is. It's still up there. You can go sub for $5 a month. Nobody wants to do it anymore, and you know, fuck me for trying to make money on YouTube legitimately instead of throwing crappy ass mobile games down your throat. But there's some decent content back there, and the last post I did was a resolution to the skit I did, and the skit was a MySpace version of myself from a long time ago. So I was basically reliving the MySpace era in my private membership, where like 3 people subscribed to, by the way. Like, I advertised it like 5 times and I got $15 out of it, in terms of what you guys paid, which returned me like $7 or something. And one of those people I accidentally forced into subscribing because I asked if they could see the video and they couldn't, and they were forced to sub. So we didn't land a defense there, by the way. The link has always been in my description. That's not what this is about, but, you know, if you want to support me, there's links there. It's Christmas time, and let's just say we're keeping my mom afloat right now. We're not keeping me afloat. So let's talk about the psych ward. I'm still not sure how long this video is going to be. I might edit it down to like 5 minutes. I might just keep talking because I know a lot of people want to hear me talk right now, and I kind of just want to talk. One of my future channels is going to be a podcast of sorts. It won't be under this name, but it's another topic that I'll cover in the future. So let's talk about where I was. We got to get there sometime. It's 11 minutes and 31 seconds into this, and time is very important to me because the time 2 minutes and 22 seconds, or 2:22 p.m. or a.m., I'm actually not sure which one it was when I officially broke in terms of a mental capacity. That is when I lost control of reality, and it just sort of happened. So I called the suicide hotline prevention. I tried to post on YouTube and Twitter first that I was going to be okay and I wasn't in danger. I tried to do that before I left, but I changed my name on Twitter to like a confused critter or something to reference Critical Role, and I got locked out and I could not complete the CAPTCHA. The CAPTCHA was too hard for me in my state to complete. I literally could not do it. This also worked with the suicide hotline because when I called them, they had a voice message on the suicide hotline that everybody links and tells you to call, and that's the end result to help suicide. They said, would you like to talk in English or French? Please press F for French. Please press E for English. And I don't know about your guys' psychotic breakdowns or whatever these things are called, but I couldn't find F or E on my phone. That's not a thing I could do. I memorized everything on my phone, but at this point, I didn't know where it was, and I couldn't touch it. I'd also lost my glasses at this point during this breakdown, so I was completely blind. I tried to get them to call me. I texted and said, please just call me. I'm in trouble. I need help right now. I have all the text logs. And they never did. So like 40 minutes later, maybe not 40, maybe 20 to 30 minutes later, after I was actually getting worried. This is when I started to get worried for myself, and I was panicking for my life. Not because I was worried about suicide or something, but because I was so lack of sleep. I was so lack of juices in my system. I literally just wanted Gatorade and a nurse to check my vitals. Like, I didn't know what else to do at this point. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, so I can't just like go down to the store and get Gatorade. It's not something I can do. I'm also living downstairs in a place that has well water right now, and for some reason our water is not the best right now, and also there's no hot water down here, or there's no cold water under my tap. It only does hot, so I can't really get drinking water down here. That's a problem for another day. Speaking of drinking water, make sure you drink a lot of water. I'm going to do that too. Ah, that feels good. So I called 911 at that point because, you know, you kind of have to. I didn't know what to do. I thought I was perishing, not because of wanting to commit suicide. Or I keep saying that word. I'm sorry. I have to. It's just part of these things. But because I was out of juices in my system. It took them approximately an hour and a half from the time I called the suicide hotline and the time I called 911 for them to get to me. I have 2 relatively big towns 20 minutes either direction from me, so I don't think that's excusable. When they came in, I was completely in a psychotic state. We can talk about this more specifically lately, but I just want to go over the highlights. I got into the ambulance and asked for water, and they said, "I'm sorry, we do not have water." I said, "Excuse me, what the fuck?" In a laughing way. I wasn't mad or crying or anything. I was legit laughing that they didn't have water, because all I called them for was a Gatorade, which sounds ridiculous, but when your vitals are that low, and you haven't slept in 5 days, 911's the safest thing to do, right? So not only did they not have water, they also didn't have Gatorade. So I got there anyway. We drove an hour to the hospital before I finally got some liquids in me and I was stabilized. They didn't do anything to me in the ambulance outside of tied me down, so I was completely like tied down, marked as dangerous, because I was obviously unstable, but I wasn't inhibiting. No, I don't know if that's the word. I wasn't showing off any signs of dangerous, just a loss of control of my reality or something like that, which is danger because you never know what's going to happen. Long story short, again, I'm going to say that a lot. There were a bunch of super cute nurses in super colorful pants that I loved to death that saved my life there. And they ended up putting me in a solitary confinement for, I'm approximately not sure how long, but I would guess 1 to 2 days. They drugged me during this, and I was not really aware of what was going on. And after that, I was put into a high observation area, which is no phones, no stimulation, no anything. The only thing we could do was color and walk, and we had one hallway. So think of these crappy Epic 7 design stories where it's just a stage and you run straight for 3 battles. I had that as a hallway. And that is it. Literally nothing else. I could color with whatever they gave us, and that was it. There were 4 other people or 5 other people with me on this. Most of them very obviously a little more out of touch with reality than I was. I was certainly out of place because by that point I was snapped back into the typical mango. And I was there for about a week or 8 days. I'm not sure how long. I would love to talk about this a lot, but I'm not sure if I should because of confidentiality. But let's just say there were some characters in there, and I'm sure I could fudge the truth a little bit to keep it realistic and right. So maybe I'll tell that story sometime. And then after that, I was transferred into a place with a phone, and the first thing I did with my phone was let people know I was okay, because I had a ton of messages with people telling me, I hope you didn't commit suicide, or I hope you did. I got those too, by the way. And I just let everybody know I was okay, and then I was able to finally relax. I didn't get out until the 15th-ish. Yeah, the 15th is when I officially got out, but I had my phone at around the 13th, I think, and you'll be able to see my tweets and everything there, to try to let people know I was safe. So that is where I have been, and I'm not sure where else to go with this conversation outside of check your mental health, folks, and make sure you're good, because even if you're 38 and you haven't had a breakdown yet, all it takes is one unlucky string of events that shouldn't have happened, and you are locked up for 10 days straight, and it's bad. That said, I lost weight. I am extremely overweight right now due to, obviously, mental health. I was about 340 pounds as of late November. I am down to 310 now already. Because it is not very hard to lose weight when you're this overweight. But I just lost control of purpose, I guess. So I didn't worry about that before. yeah, so long story short, what's happening with the channel? This is like the 17th long story short. We're just gonna upload this as is. I don't give a fuck. I'm putting ads on it because nobody pays for the membership, so use ad block or whatever, but we're gonna interrupt this important video with ads because I tried everything else and this is my last ditch effort. So I want to say that my plan for the future involves a new persona, not Mango. I'm not like coming out in terms of sexuality or something like that, but I will have a new persona that will not be public. I've shared it with a few people. If you've been around the channel for a long time and you know me from Twitch and you want to talk with me, or you talked with me on Discord a lot, there's a lot of people I haven't talked to recently that I would love to share the name with, and my new Discord and everything like that. And there will be podcast type content there and Path of Exile type content and a bunch of other type content there as well. But mostly it's just going to be me being a human being on the internet and liking some ass. Let's just say it like that, because I didn't have a outlet for that before. And if you scroll my Twitter and see some of the posts I've liked recently, you'll understand why there was a moral dilemma in my head on how to handle that situation. The biggest complaint I have with the healthcare system right now is literally 0 people knew what KEKW was, and literally 0 knew what ASMR was. I talked to about 30 nurses and multiple doctors that are all in areas like the high observation area, which are like a place you have to have a lot of experience to be in. They don't just get put there first because they're the dangerous people. Not one person knew any of those things, and I heal myself with ASMR right now. It is how I feel safe. I actually watch, if you want to get an idea of what I watch, just Google something like Korean girl ASMR solo camping. I very specifically always look for Korean or Japanese feminine, if that's the right way to say it, people, because their videos are edited in a way that gets me relaxed, and they always wear colorful clothing and put together clothing, which is what I enjoy. I don't do it for a sexual thing. I do it for just aesthetics in terms of cleanliness of the people. And that is where we're at right now. So I'm actually going to close this out here. If you want to support me over Christmas, feel free. There's a link down there in the comments for PayPal if you want to toss a couple bucks for, I don't even know what at this point, anything. Not gacha games. It's not going to be spent on games. It'll spend on real life important stuff, like paying back rehab for my mom. And there's the membership too, which I'll try to keep putting things in. There's a decent amount of content there right now, and a lot of it is weird. The video titled La Mer, which is my favorite song of all time by Trent Reznor, is super weird, so listen to that with a warning ahead of time, because you have to understand where the video is coming from. It talks about slow jerking and Sam Riegal and lines and a lot of dicks everywhere. But it's also super funny, I think. But it's also super not funny considering I actually went through the breakdown, and it actually happened because I recorded that video before the mental breakdown happened. So thank you for watching. Have fun, I guess.
The hell